All right, welcome everyone. Okay, this particular video is on logarithmic functions and it's the only one that's necessary for us to do the whole thing. So here we go. Okay, so what you're going to be able to do is identify logarithmic functions from an equation or a graph, and you're going to be able to graph them using a graphing calculator, identify your asymptotes, your intercepts, domain, and range. Okay, let's go. Now, having gone through this, we're not going to be going through all of these slides because a lot of them have the homework embedded in them. We just have to go through just a few things. So what you need to know here is that logarithmic functions are inverses of exponential functions. So here's exponential functions, which hopefully you've watched this video and you saw this. Now, the logarithmic function is just going this way. And what you're not seeing is there's a line y equals x that goes through here. And basically what happens is you took this one and you reflected it over, and that's where you get this one. So an exponential function goes through 0, 1. A logarithmic function goes through 1, 0. The domain here is all real numbers. The domain here is x is greater than 0 because notice it's to the right of the y-axis. Here, your range is greater than 0 because it's above your x-axis. Here, your range is all real numbers. Okay, so this is a very important slide if you want to copy, pick out the ones and copy them down. Okay, now here's that line that I was telling you. This is the y equals x line. That's why it's dashed. It's not part of the graph. This is exponential. This is logarithmic. Okay, this is another slide that is, I think, very helpful. Okay, and so a logarithmic function is a function of the form f of x equals log base b of x. B is greater than 0. It's a positive constant called the base, not equal to 1, and x has to be greater than 0. And what they did is when you get to algebra 2, you'll watch how we change this from one form to another. That's basically how it works. So here's your logarithmic form, and here's your exponential form. Logarithmic functions either increase or decrease, and they do have asymptotes. Okay. Okay, and then here, just the inverse function. We already saw that, so I don't think we need to draw it. Okay, here's what you need to know when you're plugging it into the calculator. Your calculator only does base 10. Okay, so in order to graph this particular function, you put in open parentheses. This matters if you're on either a Casio or a TI. You don't have to put in this part, remember. So you put in log of x over log base 2. So it's whatever this is over log of 2. Okay, so we'll do a couple so you can see that. Okay, so like this one, the way I would plug this in the calculator is I'm going to do log of x over log of 4. So I'm going to use the TI for that because it just looks so much better when you do it. Okay, and enter. I don't know why it's not letting me turn that off, but that's okay. Maybe I did. Oh, it's turned off. That's why it keeps doing that. Oh, duh. Okay. Let me go back because I just forgot to write it down. So we're doing log of x over log of 4. Because notice it's log base 4 of x. And again, we're doing that because your calculator cannot do anything but base 10. So I'm going to have open parentheses, log, and your log button is here. Probably about the same place on the Casio, or it might be across the row. I'm not sure. So we're doing log of x, and notice on the TIs it generates that open parentheses. That's what TI does. X. I'm going to close that parentheses, and then I'm going to close it again, and then I'm going to divide. For every time you open one, you should be closing one. And then I'm going to open, and I'm going to do log of 2. Close, close. Okay, and then I'm going to enter. And then I'm going to tell it to graph. That second was not. Okay. Okay, one thing I want to do here is I want to change my window. So I went zoom and I'm hitting 6. Okay, there you can see it a little bit better. Now, one of the things you'll notice that when it draws on these calculators have a very difficult time drawing vertical lines. Casio and TI do it. Casio can do it on certain instances. So just keep in mind, this is approaching but not equal. And the line does continue, so I do expect you to continue that out with a line. But now here's what you're looking at. And so what is your, you have a vertical asymptote, which is x equals 0, or the y-axis. Your domain is x is greater than or equal to 0. And your range is what? All real numbers. Okay? So that's kind of how that works. So it's very similar to what we've been doing already. Okay, and then here they do the same thing. Here, when you type this in, you would type in log of x over log of 1/2. Okay. Now, here all they do is they show you how they typed it in. That's what this bubble animation does. So I just wanted to kind of show you that, but again, I've already gone over that. This is the other slide that I think is super, super important. The only thing here is that this is not all real numbers. It's all positive numbers. So you can cross this piece off. But it tells you how it's different. And so this one is all real numbers. It passes through that point. There's no y-intercept this time. X-intercept. If it's greater than 1, it goes up to the right and it's increasing. And if it's between 0 and 1, it goes down to the right and decreasing. It's a one-to-one function, and it has an inverse function, which is the exponential function. And then they write that here. The graph approaches but does not touch the y-axis, and the vertical asymptote is x equals 0, or the y-axis. So just a heads up. Okay. And then they just go through having you practice some. That's what this is about. Okay. And pretty much that's it. And then you can summarize. And then I didn't actually do this part, I'll be honest, because it wasn't necessary for doing the test. The test is basically you have to graph 10 problems, and then you are going to answer a couple of questions about it. So say, I want to know if it's increasing and what's the range. I want to know if it has a horizontal asymptote and what's the domain. Those kinds of things. It's really easy. So you don't have to do everything for all of them. So feel free to do whatever you need to do, but just know, yeah, that's all there is to it. So thank you very much, and that's the end of, I'm pretty sure that's the end of logarithms. Let me check just a moment. All right, that is it. So we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.